Hey guys, what's going on? This is Campo and welcome back to my channel. So Alliance War Season 7 has just ended, and as you can see, my current alliance is a Platinum 3 alliance. This is actually the first time that I finished in any Platinum bracket, and we barely made it. It was number 192 out of 200, but it was a very exciting season. And what I would like to do today is something that I think some of the other YouTubers aren't really poised to do because they're in much higher tier alliances in Master and Platinum 1 brackets. But I sort of have the unique experience of being both in Gold 1 and Platinum 3 alliances. And what I want to do today is a little bit of an opinion piece on why I think the bracketing system right around Platinum 3 and Gold 1 is not ideal. And it's really not great for summoners that are kind of right on that edge between the two brackets. So the way I'm going to kind of structure this video is first I'm going to tell you a little bit about the end of our Season 7 and how we were able to achieve Platinum 3. Then I'm going to tell you what I think are some of the problems with the bracketing system. And finally, I'm going to try to offer some solutions that I think Kabam could implement fairly easily in order to mitigate this problem. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about our season. So we had a very strong end to the season. As you can see, I think we won 5 out of our last 6 wars. The last few were against Platinum alliances, including the last one where we were a 59 to 41 underdog. And we basically won this war by like 2 deaths and 2 diversity points. And essentially what happened is we kind of started off not very strong this season. Like we're kind of a chill alliance, so people kind of went into it just not using items and just we lost our first few. We had some tough matchups, but then we kind of got our act together around week 2 and 3, and all of a sudden with 2 weeks left, we were sort of poised to make a run. And I think everybody just kind of focused in a different way, and used some of the free items that you can get in game with loyalty and glory, and just really kind of honed in like who was taking the mini bosses, making sure that we were using boosts smartly without really digging into our unit stash. And we started really getting good at completing the maps and getting through the encounters. And I think our officers also really got a little bit tighter with our defense placement. And because of all that, we were able to go on a hot streak. And we were poised with 3 wars left that we looked at the math and we were like, if we win our last 3, we should be able to get into Platinum 3 just barely. And that was true. So here we were sort of toward the end of the season, and we were watching the leaderboard, the way this whole thing works, where like you finish your war midday and then you're like smack in the middle of Platinum 3, and then as all the other alliances start to finish their wars, you keep bumping down and sliding. And I predicted, oh, we're going to end right around 185, and that's sort of where I thought we would end up. And then we hit 185, hit 187, 189, 190, and all of a sudden I was like, okay, this is bad. Like we're going to slip and be like first place in Gold 1. And that's where this whole sort of thought experiment came to me. Was I was really nervous I was going to wake up on the day the season ended and it was going to be like first place in Gold 1, and we would have put in the effort and basically had the same experience as many of these alliances right on the brink, but the reward difference between Gold 1 and Platinum 3 is like very stark. So this is sort of getting into a little bit of what I think the issue is. Essentially, if you're in Gold 1 versus Platinum, as you can see, the amount of Tier 2 Alpha and Tier 5 Basic that you get straight up like is half. So, and then when you look at those war crystals, you get 5 instead of 3. So that's essentially could also be as much as half if you're in Gold 1. And then, I guess the shards aren't too big of a difference, but it is just kind of nice to get a little bit more shards. And the Tier 4 class catalyst is kind of neither here nor there. But essentially these wars are sort of all about the Tier 5 Basic and the Tier 2 Alpha. And basically we would have, if we were like right at the top of Gold 1, we would have gotten half of the rewards. And then if that compiles over seasons, you are really going to be left behind. So what I realized that the problem is essentially that the Gold 1 bracket is too darn big. Okay, so as you can see, platinum encompasses the first 300 alliances, but gold 1 is all the alliances from number 301 all the way to 1500. And, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion because I've been in both kinds of alliances, the bottom part of gold 1 is basically super easy to achieve. Like you could have a war rating of under 2000, and I think any alliance who has 30 members that log in every day and maybe have like completed Act 5 can coast through 3 battle group wars and be able to make gold 1 even if you lose the majority of your wars. And that experience, those people are getting the same exact rewards as an alliance like us. Let's say if we slipped just a little bit more, like we scored just a few more points this season, we would have ended up at the top of gold 1, having spent some items and really like honed in, getting under 25 deaths per war and things like that, and we would have gotten the same rewards. So I really just think that gold 1 is sort of the last landing place where you get some nice rewards, where you can get some 6-star shards, where you can get some of the end game resources for rank ups, but it's just too big, and it's unfair for those alliances that are sort of in our boat. Like if we didn't make the cutoff, I'm sure there were a handful of alliances that thought they were going to make Platinum 3, and then just, for one reason or another, they slipped up a little bit, and then their rewards are halved. Like, they're not, like, slightly less. It's like you become a have-not at that point because, you're only getting a trickle of the resources as opposed to, like, 2 times as many. So what do I think are some solutions for mitigating this problem? I have 3 possible scenarios. Like they're all kind of mutually exclusive. So like Kabam would have to pick one of these and implement it. And I'm going to present them to you in the order of sort of like easiest for Kabam to do. But also as I go down the list to the third one, I also think that these will get better for the players as I go. So like the first one is going to be the easiest to implement, but maybe not the most impact. And then the third one might be a little bit more difficult to implement and it might be a little more game changing, but I really think it would be the most fair way to deal with this problem. So let's start with my solution number 1, which I'm going to keep this graphic up in the back so you can kind of see the numbers in real time and kind of be able to visualize this math. So my solution number 1 for the gold 1 is too big problem is simply to make Platinum 3 the top 500 alliances, okay? So all of these solutions I'm going to suggest are not going to affect like the super top of the game. Like I don't want to mess with that. Right now, 20 alliances are in that master bracket and they get the crazy amount of resources, and Platinum 1 is like still very respectable. And I feel like if you're a top 50 alliance, like you're going to stay in that top 50. So this problem doesn't really trickle down until you get to this like gold platinum border. And once again, what I'm suggesting is Platinum 3, which is significantly less than master, but significantly better than gold 1, is 500 alliances. So that basically everybody from alliance number 101 who's not in Platinum 2 all the way up to 500 would get these rewards. And the reason this would be easy to implement is because it would just, they would just change the bracket. And I think it's a decent solution because there's so many alliances that are kind of where we were, which were like right on the border. And we were really, it was like a nail biter to see if we could finish just barely in the top 300. And we did, but there's so many other alliances that missed out. And having been in a gold 1 alliance that was a little bit more chill in the past, where we were sort of in like the top 300-ish, I can tell you that our experience was way different than the experience my current alliance had this season, in that we were really having to hone in the deaths, really had to use items, had to change masteries, and had to play extremely well under high pressure for people at our level to even consider making platinum. Whereas like once you get to the current like 200th in gold 1 and down, I feel like the experience is a lot less pressure, and therefore if they made Platinum 3 include 200 more alliances, I think it would kind of mitigate that issue. And anybody that's sort of competing at a level that we were, right on that borderline, they would know that by just doing what they've already been doing, they would be secure in that Platinum 3, and anyone else in in Gold 1, they probably won't have to change their effort too much, and they would get the same rewards that they're currently getting. And that way, Gold 1 would be, have 200 fewer alliances and just be a little bit smaller, and there would be less of a fear of missing out on these rewards if you were trying to push toward Platinum 3. So that's my number one solution. Solution number two is similar, and what this would do, again, this would be instead of my first proposal. This is like a totally different solution, but what this would do is it would still preserve Platinum 3 as like kind of an elite thing to make, like the top 300. What I would suggest is sort of what I call the Platinum 4 solution, which would be from any alliance that finishes between 301 and 700 would essentially get a new bracket. Now, if you wanted to call it Platinum 4, or if you wanted to just make this the new Gold 1, that would encompass like basically between 300 and 700, I think that would be a really good solution. And what I would recommend is that for this like Platinum 4, in quotes, alliance bracket, that, between 300 and 700, that actually those become the Platinum 3 current rewards. Okay, so right now where it says, Platinum 3, these rewards would actually extend from 300 to 700, and then all the rewards above it would get buffed a little bit, because at this point, they're selling Tier 5 Basic all the time in offers in the store, and like it's becoming more prevalent in the game. Act 6 is going to come out soon. I think if we buffed all the rewards in Alliance War, that would be good for everybody, of course, but by creating just one extra bracket, whether it's called Platinum 4 or if it's just the new Gold 1 and now Gold 2 is from like 700 to 1500, that a lot more alliances that are competing at like a relatively competitive level would be able to get access to a little bit more chunk of rewards. And then the people that make the top 300 in what is currently Platinum 3, if those rewards get buffed a little bit, they feel like it's a little bit more of an accomplishment for pushing and making that break point. So that's sort of my second solution. And then my third solution would be kind of the most groundbreaking, however, I think it would be the most fair. And this is going to be a little hard to explain, but essentially what I'm proposing is that the amount of shards that you get, like the 6-star hero shards and the 5-star hero crystal shards, those are locked in the current system. So they would stay the same. Like if you're in Platinum 3, then you would get the same amount of shards. If you're in Gold 1, you would get the same amount of shards. However, when it comes to the Tier 5 Basic and the Tier 2 Alpha, these are actually scaled based on the physical rank that you are. So let me explain this, how I mean. The alliance that is number 300 in the world, so the last alliance that would make Platinum 3 would get these rewards. Okay, so if you're in 300th, you make the Platinum 3 bracket, you would literally get these exact rewards. If you were in, let's see, I need to do it this way. If you were in Platinum 2 and you were the 100th alliance, the last one to make Platinum 2, you would get exactly these rewards. Every alliance in between these two milestones would get like an incrementally more amount of Tier 2 Alpha and Tier 5 Basic, so that it scales all the way up to the next bracket. And that wouldn't be too hard to implement, because you would need some kind of multiplier system, which would basically mean like Alliance 299 would just get like a trickle more of all these materials, and then 298 would get just a trickle more. It could just be like 2 or 3 extra shards, whatever the math would be. But that way, if you just barely miss the bracket, you're not completely missing out on the rewards. So like first place in Platinum 3 would also be kind of having like a similar feeling to like if we got Gold 1 first place, where it's like, man, we just totally missed out on getting twice the amount of rewards. But with a scaled system, first place in Platinum 3 would actually get almost the Platinum 2 rewards when it came to the Tier 5 Basic and the Tier 2 Alpha. So essentially what this would do is it would mean more rewards are getting dished out. The amount of Tier 5 Basic and Tier 2 Alpha that you get would actually have to do with which place you get in the world. And then, the only thing that would matter about which bracket you make is how many 6-star shards you get, as well as just like the bragging rights of holding the title that we made Platinum 3. So I hope that makes sense. And I don't think that would be that hard to implement, because you would just need to figure out whatever the multiplier is, so that like the difference between these two numbers here with the tier 5 basic, they would just incrementally go up with each of the 200 places between Platinum 2 and Platinum 3. And then, you don't really feel like you're missing out on endgame resources, and the titles of which bracket you make are more just for bragging rights. They shouldn't be detrimental to your account if you have like one bad war and you completely miss the bracket and you end up at like the top 10 of the next bracket down. So that's my idea. If anybody thinks that's a good idea, I would love it if you could share this video so that it gets a little bit more playtime. But being in both a Gold 1 toward the top and now a Platinum 3 alliance, I can say that like the experience right on the borderline of these two brackets is so similar that it's really a shame that anybody who makes like 1st through 10th place of Gold 1 just gets half of the rewards that we did in Platinum 3. And I really think this would be a little bit more fair, especially since the Tier 5 Basic and Tier 2 Alpha are so rare in the game currently still, if there was some sort of like incremental increase system. So hopefully that makes sense. I would love to hear what you think about this and what your experience was with Alliance War Season 7, if you were maybe on the borderline of one of these and if you think this is a good idea. And from there, that's all basically I have to say, guys. Thanks for checking out this video. I hope you had a great season, and I'll talk to you soon.